everyone, this is Jacqui Cooper with JCooperTravels Talk Show, and I want to welcome everyone back to this episode. I really appreciate everyone liking and subscribing and following. I'm also doing a travel blog on Medium, so definitely watch for that link, and that way you can follow my travels in Portugal, in the United States, China, all around the world. I'm kind of revisiting photos and places that I've gone to and reliving those experiences now that we're able to travel a bit. I did recently come back from Portugal with my daughter, and it was a wonderful time. But J. Cooper Travels is not just about where we travel. It's also how do we travel in life, both career-wise, personally. How do we help support others and even help support our environment and the world around us? And today's topic is something that's really special to me because it's talking about protecting the environment and thinking about what are we doing locally as well as within our own homes. And so with that, I want to say hi to Lindsey. And how are you doing today?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and the name of your company, and then we'll start talking about this topic, which is really important to me.
My name is Lindsey Vaught, and I own Upstate Solar and Real Estate. And I have been working in the solar industry for about 5 years, and I have been working in the real estate industry for about 4 years. I absolutely love them both, and they both pair really well together. And so that's what I've been doing. And that's it.
Yeah, no, what I love about what you're doing is the solar side. It's been on my mind for a while, and I am very open to the green side, so when you and I connected, I thought it was very important. I know I've talked to other individuals who are in the solar industry, and I just think there can never be too many conversations, because at times we might think about how do we make our home more green, whether it's composting, whether it's just having more organic products in our house. But one of the areas that is really important is the energy of our house too. So I know that in looking at solar, there's a lot of ins and outs. You can have solar on your roof, you can have solar in your backyard, but there are also a lot of different regulations. There are different time periods. But before we start talking about solar, I know you have a personal story that is really special that got you here. So do you want to share a little bit about how you got to the real estate side and how you got to the solar side? Because I think that's inspiring to others as well.
Okay. Yes. So I'm originally from San Diego. I've been living in Greenville, South Carolina for about 21 years now. And I'm originally from San Diego, and growing up, going green was just a way of life. We recycled everything. We were very conservative with water. We had to be. We were just constantly in a state of drought, and we were very conservative with our energy. It was very expensive, and so everyone did that kind of intuitively. It was just how things were. When I came into adulthood, I moved to South Carolina, and I came here for college. And those things weren't really necessary here. There was an abundance of water, and there was, all these different things. So conservation wasn't really necessary like it was. Even cost of living was much lower, and so that was very different. So I was working at a university, and I was on energy stewardship committee. I was working maintenance in the women's residence halls. And I was on an energy stewardship committee that was tasked with reducing campus energy usage by 33%. And as I started doing that, I absolutely thrived. It was probably the most enjoyable thing I'd ever done. It was the most intuitive thing I'd ever done. And it was just a ton of fun. It was very short-lived, moved on with other things, and I never really heard how it went. Years later, I needed to change careers, and when I was looking into other job prospects and interviewing for those, they had asked about project that I had been involved in, but didn't have the opportunity to, control the outcome. And so I thought about that, and I decided to look back into it to see how it had gone. And I had found out that we had far exceeded, more than tripled our first year goals by simply implementing some very basic things. And that my crew that I had left behind continued implementing the things that I had left behind. And they were not energy conscious, electrical energy conscious or water energy conscious, but they were work energy conscious. And so they were making decisions to reduce the workload on the crew. And that led them to implement the things that I had left behind. And I was just so thrilled to hear that. It honestly, it excited me, it invigorated me. And then a while later, my house flooded. I found out that I had Lyme's disease. There were all these other things that had happened, and I had to make some major life changes. And in that, I definitely had to change careers into a completely different path. I had to change lifestyle. So that was how I got into solar. Once I got into solar, my goal was to get into corporate sustainability and energy stewardship. It just required, me to go into solar sales for 2 years. I did that, and after 2 years of being in solar sales, I was actually doing corporate sustainability and energy stewardship. I had moved into the commercial realm, and I was going into businesses and analyzing their energy costs and usage and all of those types of things, and helping provide solutions. And so it was a much broader picture than solar sales. And so I didn't have to change careers after that. I just expanded what I was doing and what I was offering. And so that's what I've been doing.
So if and I think that's awesome. I love the how you got here to the solar side. So if someone's interested in solar, what should they be aware of? Is it can every house have it? What are the steps involved if someone hasn't done any research on solar companies, or what's involved?
Well, there are a lot of incentives right now that vary depending on your jurisdiction, your location, your power company. There's a lot of different factors that go into deciding whether or not it's even accessible for you. Some areas it's not even available. Some power companies don't allow it. Some power companies allow it, but only to a certain point. So you definitely have to check with a local solar company to find out what's allowed in your area. Your power company will usually have a net metering writer on their website, and so you can take a look at that and see what they offer, or you can call them directly and find that out. But there are incentives available that just make it really significant, especially for businesses, to go solar. So you definitely want to inquire with a solar company about what options apply to your business. So there are a lot of factors that go in. First of all, the location of your roof, the condition of your roof. If it's an older roof, you can actually get it replaced along with your solar, and it would extend the life of your roof as well. That would be fantastic. There are all kinds of benefits for your home to incorporate the solar. There are a lot of things that you can incorporate along with your solar that would also be great home improvements. And so you definitely want to look at your location, your HOA. A lot of times folks have an HOA and there are restrictions as to where you can put it, which might impact the effectiveness of solar. So you definitely want to look into those restrictions. And then of course the incentives that are available in your area. And what's at the forefront of my mind right now, what the sunset dates of those incentives are in your area. For example, I'm in Greenville, South Carolina. The process in Greenville, South Carolina takes about 60 to 90 days from purchase to interconnection. And that's what's required before the end of the year in order to get this year's tax credits. And so there are all kinds of incentives that have deadlines. So just make sure that you're aware of the deadlines and that you're keeping up with those.
What do you mean, for someone that might be listening, what's a sunset? What does that mean?
Basically the expiration of the particular tax benefits in your area. So for example, in South Carolina, not every state has a state tax incentive. There's currently a federal tax incentive, and that is due to depreciate. As a matter of fact, it was due to depreciate this year and disappear next, and that has been extended for another year due to COVID. But that has a sunset date. In South Carolina, there is a state tax incentive that doesn't have a sunset date. So we just have to assume that at any given point, it could go away. And so we have to plan accordingly. If it's not done by the end of the year, we can't guarantee that it'll be available next year. So it's a little bit subjective. And so it just makes things unnerving. There are also incentives available through the power company as well. And those have different, expiration dates depending on the power company.
So if someone wanted to reach out to you to have you consult with them on how to obtain solar, where would they reach you? How would they get to you?
The name of my business is Upstate Solar and Real Estate, and my website is upstatesolarandrealestate.com. So I kept that very simple, and it's all spelled out. So upstatesolarandrealestate.com, and my contact information is on there, and so you can definitely reach me that way.
So for those that might not be aware of how a talk show works, there's a little blog area below, and Lindsey's links will be there along with mine. So that way you can, if you don't have paper and pen, don't worry. We'll be, mentioning her website as well. And it will be there so you can kind of reach back out. Is it a simple process to get solar onto the house or business, or from start to finish? About how long does it take?
The process, like I said, in South Carolina takes 60 to 90 days. And the vast majority of that, honestly, the installation process is quite honestly the shortest time period for that. I would say your installation would be, for a typical system, anywhere between, 1 day. A very complex system would be 2 weeks. So that's how long you could plan for that. However, there are applications that must be submitted to your HOA, to the power company, then of course permitting, then your installation, and then it goes back to permitting, goes back to the power company before it gets connected. And so those processes do take time. Now, depending on your area, sometimes they don't take as long. Depending on your jurisdiction, those timeframes might be a little bit more condensed, and the application process might be simpler. So you definitely want to look into the time frame when you're planning your system.
So one of the things that I like to do during the talk show is one tip, one place. So what's a tip that you might share with people who are listening, whether it's about the solar side or anything else that you might think that they need to be aware of?
As far as on the solar side, I would definitely do your research on your solar companies and definitely pay attention to the deadlines of the incentives. I find that most folks don't move unless there's a deadline. And then when they do, they move about a week after the requirement for the deadline. And so it does make for a nail-biting experience, which causes a lot more stress than is necessary. The same with selling your home. Make sure that you know the specifics about how the system is going to impact your home if you buy or sell, or any of those types of things. They are not nearly as complicated as people assume they are, but you do have to know going into buying or selling your home. So those are tips that I would recommend. Know your time frames, and just be aware, do your research. And then as far as the place, I love Greenville. I've been here for 21 years, and I love it even more every year. And my favorite place to be in Greenville, South Carolina, is the Cancer Survivors Park downtown.
Wow.
We have the Reedy River Falls Park is just absolutely exquisite. And if you go just a little bit further than down the Swamp Rabbit Trail here in Greenville, there is the Cancer Survivors Park, and it is the most precious little place to sit and rest and contemplate and meditate and listen to the water. And it's just a beautiful place to be.
That's very wonderful sharing that. Thank you so much. So, are there any last minute thoughts that you can think of that you want to share with our listeners?
No, I definitely would recommend that you would look into solar, depending on your situation. Even if you're a renter, I always tell folks, my favorite customers are the ones that, other solar companies would say, hey, you're not, you don't qualify for this, so I'm not going to waste my time with you. I value every customer, even if you're a renter. Look into it now, because at some point, most folks will live in a home that they own, and so just be conscious of where and how much money you're spending on your power bill. How much money you could save by going solar. Definitely go with a company, definitely who will help you calculate how much you're spending and how much you'll save by switching to solar. Solar will save you money regardless of how expensive or how cheap the system is. Solar will always save you money because it's paying for itself as you go along. But knowing those things is definitely of significant value. So definitely look into it. Definitely do your research. So that I think that would probably be my greatest tip to give folks.
Why don't you go ahead and mention your website again, so that way people can reach out to you for a consult?
Wonderful. Yes, it's upstatesolarandrealestate.com. And name of the business again, Upstate Solar and Real Estate. And you can reach out to me directly, and I can definitely answer your questions. Again, my information's on my website, and I'll plug in my phone number and email here. Those are definitely great ways, and I can look into any jurisdiction for you. I mean, technically we're international, but we can work anywhere where the sun shines. We can put in a system for you, whether it's on grid, off grid, any type of system you want. We pretty much cover. So just definitely reach out, give me a call.
Definitely. Again, as you were talking, I was thinking about some of the other business ventures that I'm in, and one that is sort of a little bit not directly connected, but still using green energy in many ways is my Bitcoin mining. Actually, we're using green energy, and it's true. They're using water energy, and they have Bitcoin mining farms in Colorado, Montana, and Canada. So I'll put my link below. But many businesses, whether it's a traditional business or in the crypto side, they're becoming very green oriented, and they're looking. I know that there are other Bitcoin mining companies that are also looking, including mine, looking at how to do solar, how to do wind, because we're very aware of the fact that everything impacts the planet. So we want to make everything, friendly for the long-term generation. So I will definitely have Lindsey's contact below. If you have, any questions, reach out to either myself or to Lindsey. And it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much, Lindsey.
It's been great talking to you too, Jackie. And when you said that reminded me of something. I actually have a video on using solar power for Bitcoin mining on my LinkedIn page. So you can definitely look for it there. But it's a exciting topic to be looking into right now.
It definitely is. I agree totally. And I'm loving the cryptocurrency side. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. Everyone has to do their own research. Thank you, everyone. Definitely like and subscribe, and I will see you everyone on the next episode. Have a great day.